for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break. Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And I'm not saying it to please people who are known as Igbos. Nigeria, having won that war in their eyes, never forgive the Igbos. And if I were to be president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head to the Southeast and apologize to them for the war. And then ask them, what do we want? There is a secret memo, I don't know where it is located, in government, that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will overrun. It is a well-known fact. Even our parents.
Before we continue watching this video, welcome back again to this channel. This is AbelPerspectives, your domain for unfiltered news and raw political analysis. Should we actually say a whole lot of things here? And I want you all to listen attentively, especially if you are from Igbo extraction. And of course, subscribe to this channel and leave your comments, as we would also give some tips of analysis as regards to the things Sowore has to say. Let's continue watching the video.
Talking about Biafra.
Yes.
You had a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu, and that sparked, in fact,
New York.
Yeah, I think you got arrested after that meeting. People would say, you people are not fighting the same cause. You are fighting to be the president of the country. Yes. He is fighting to divide the country.
Yes.
People would say, why would you be seen in such a meeting? Would you like to clear that
You see, anybody that lacks any sense of consciousness would ignore social movements. That is the problem with Nigerian leadership. You cannot have a country in which there are 251 tribes or languages, and one big section says we are not satisfied with here, and you don't talk to them, you don't understand them, then you are not a leader of that country. The reason I met him was to understand first what his struggle was about, which I knew already, and secondly, to also advise him on the way that I think we could all work together, and thirdly, to send a message to the Nigerian people that we can work through our differences even at these levels. And I was surprised that, contrary to what some people are saying, he did not want Nigeria to break up. He wanted a Nigeria where the Igbo man can survive. But for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break.
Wait, the meeting you had with Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You are telling us now that Nnamdi Kanu, from what you understand from the meeting with him, he does not want Nigeria to break, to divide.
No, he said clearly that it is too late for Nigeria to come together. But he gave his conditions. We live streamed the meeting now. It's online.
Okay.
And part of it was live streamed. Some of them were private. But he said that he feels that if Nigeria were to respect certain protocols, including a referendum inserted in the constitution, and he still says it even now in court, that if he's released, he will go back and end the bloodshedding. The bloodshedding is in that part, and that a conversation can. He says that in every court appearance, that he's being held is not helping the opportunity to have a conversation about whatever it is, the unity you are begging for. But you see, Nigeria has a problem, and I've always said Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And I'm not saying it to please people who are known as Igbos. But the moment they decided to take the action they took in 1967 to 1970, the war, Nigeria, having won that war in their eyes, never forgive the Igbos. That is the reality. And if I were to be president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head to the Southeast and apologize to them for the war. Part of it is that I never participated in it, and I cannot continue to fight a war that I did not engage in. And then ask them, what do we want?
So are you saying that the federal government has, even before successive governments, they've always had this anger against the Igbos?
There is a secret memo, I don't know where it is located, in government, that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will overrun. It is a well-known fact. Even our parents, tell us, Igbo. You understand? Some of them even say unconsciously, they even say it on radio shows in this country. So don't let us lie to ourselves, because except we bring this out openly and discuss, it's a taboo that we have refused to discuss.
True.
We are not going to solve the problem. It is the reason why the federal government of Nigeria feels that in 2024, detaining Nnamdi Kanu against all the court orders, against all the court rulings, is the only way to go. You know, I was detained in the DSS place for 5 months.
Yes.
There is nothing there to detain anybody. For the place is not even functioning. The DSS headquarters. Yes, is it the same DSS people who are watching BB Nigeria from morning to night? No, it's true now. I was there with them for 5 months. I've said this publicly. So all the institutions in this country are broken down. But let's get back to the reality. One thing I told people is that you are looking at Igbos as the only people who want to secede. But who in this country today has not mentally seceded from Nigeria?
Mentally seceded.
Who has not left? Except those who are trapped. If anybody in this country is working in a bank and he has 10 million naira and somebody say you can get into Canada, he will leave the next day.
I swear.
Is that not secession? Is it, what of secession is that you leave a country,
Yes.
you say to that country goodbye,
And not do it
you
again.
get to the other country, you bow down, you touch the soil.
Anything they say, you go do am.
And then you renounce your citizenship of the country you are coming from. Is that not what they call secession? So if you want to look at the number of people that have seceded in that Japa syndrome, there are more than all the Igbos combined together who are asking to leave. And in the process of keeping Nigeria united, we have let go of more citizens than the country should have. Yes.
So you think if they had, because I mean, from the last thing you said now, you say in the process of trying to keep Nigeria united,
Yes.
we have let go of more citizens than we should have.
Of course.
So if we had allowed for the division or secession of Nigeria, most of our citizens that are outside would not have been outside.
No, you see, it is not the secession I'm talking about.
Okay, what are you talking
It
about?
is what led to the war that we did not address.
Okay.
And what happened after the war. Why is it that Nigeria hasn't been able to overcome the Biafran problem? It's because Nigeria never addressed what the Biafrans were asking for before the war.
What were they asking?
They were asking for to be treated not as second-class citizens in this country. Don't you know what happened, the court pogrom in this country, where people were slaughtered and their bodies and their heads placed inside the train going down south? Yes, from the mid, the different parts of the north. Are we ignoring that? So
That happened.
Before the war?
Before the war. That's what they call pogrom.
History.
You know, people who were settled, doing well, they were slaughtering them and sending their bodies and their heads inside Calabash and sending on trains that was heading east.
Were they Easterners?
They were Easterners.
Yes,
Why are you asking me? It's there in, go and Google it now. So you expect that will happen, and then there was a war that eviscerated 3 million people.
Wow.
And when the war was over, you just say, oh, nobody was vanquished, nobody was victorious. And then
3 hours.
but you still kept a memo and said, don't trust them.
Collect people money.
Yes.
Give them 20 pounds.
And then you took their properties. So Ojukwu did not get back JAMB until 1992 now, his father's house, that is known as JAMB headquarters here in Ikoyi. It was after he came back from Ivory Coast. It was Babangida, I think, that gave him back their property. So any country that is perpetually carrying out systemic injustice against will lose more citizens than they should have. The reason why countries that are work is because citizens believe in their country. And you cannot force that belief. It has to come through social justice.
True.
It has to come through economic justice. Why is it that, my children can feel like they're US citizens, even though they were born there? It's because before they let you take them out of the hospital, they must take all their immunity,
Everything.
injections. You cannot put them at home and not go back to the doctor to go and complete it. And when it's time for school, they cannot be out of school for 2 days. And you'll be saying that, no, I want Shikira to go and be selling pure water. He will go to jail. So, and then when it's time for them to go to college, there is loan, there is grant,
You are talking far. If you born them in the hospital, you cannot even go home with that child if they have not approved you to go home with the child.
Not only that, you cannot even throw your child up in the hospital. The way we do it here, that we just start playing with your child. You can't. You're not allowed to just let your child fly in the air. They say you want to ruin their brain. When we were born, we see happens now. They will put hot water in your ass. They will be murmuring. They will be using hot, a rag to be pushing your head together. In the process, maybe that's where they shift some of our brains.
Now why no correct?
So it is fundamental that we understand that what makes people feel like citizens is what their country has to offer to them. And then they in turn would offer something back to their country. Sometimes their life.
Yeah.
And it's a question people ask me, why would you have all this life and come back and be suffering here? I said to them, we are built differently. Some of us, this is how we've designed our convictions. There are some of us that even fight for country we have never been to before. I fight for Palestinians. I fight for South Africans. Why can't I fight for my own people? Nigerians. 200 million people on the largest continent on earth.
Still on the election.
Before election.
No, based on the last thing that he said.
Okay.
Sorry, my brother.
No problem.
You said you fight for Palestinians. You fight for South Africans. Yes. Why can't you fight for Nigerians? Yes. I mean, maybe this question should be later end. But let me just bring it up before I forget. Do you ever regret fighting for Nigerians? Because there are some times that you go online, you see some things, and look at the people I'm fighting for. They are busy talking about cruise. They are busy talking about who is fighting. They are busy talking about whiskey.
Some people say Zukwani.
Some people now say Sowore Zukwani. You too rest in Jesus' name. Do you ever regret fighting for these people?
No. The only thing people must understand about fighting for people is that it's a thankless job.
It's a thankless job.
Yeah, if you expect something from it, you'll be very, very disappointed. And that's where the trauma comes from for people who sometimes will just get arrested by police one time and you never hear from them again. Because that period that you have expectation for people to rise and support you, and if they are not there, it traumatizes people a lot. I know what it is. It's really part of reasons why if I hear that somebody is suffering oppression, I intervene in the best possible way I can to get them out. Because it's a very slippery slope. But for me, I don't expect anything from anybody. I don't expect to be paid. I don't expect to be praised. If I was expecting something from people, when I wanted to start Sowore Reporters, I would have been putting pictures of rich people. It's the easiest way to get rich. Just go to their weddings.
Form magazines.
Put them there in the best, ask them to bend, and take nice pictures of them. That's not the way to offend people. But I took the route of offensive journalism. And that means you are fighting powerful people. And powerful people are very powerful in such a way that even some of the most reasonable people can be asked by powerful people to work against their own interests.
And they will do it
more than the people who are oppressing them. And that's what Nigeria has shown us.
This is what I have to say. Nigeria is a nation of immense diversity, rich culture, and complicated history. Yet, beneath the surface of its unity lie stories of struggle, injustice, and unanswered questions. In a recent interview, Sowore spoke boldly about one of the most sensitive topics in Nigerian history, about Nnamdi Kanu, the Igbo people, and the civil war. Of course, the unresolved wounds of the Biafra struggle. His words compel us to ask the hardest questions. What does truly unity mean? At what cost have we tried to keep it? Sowore begins by addressing the question on everyone's mind. Does Nnamdi Kanu really want Nigeria to divide? His answer is clear. No, according to his visit, that Nnamdi Kanu doesn't actually seek Nigeria's division. According to Sowore, Kanu himself has stated that keeping him in custody is not helping the cause of unity. The very act intended to preserve unity may, in fact, be undermining it. Sowore challenges us to think deeply about justice, freedom, and the role of leadership in nurturing the true national cohesion. So, are Igbos being sidelined? That is a question. And if they can be, incorporated into the things of Nigeria, into the affair of Nigeria, just like every other region, every form of agitation would fade away. So, Sowore challenges us to think deeply about justice, freedom, and the role of leadership in nurturing true national cohesion. Sowore then points on the vision of reconciliation. He says, if I were president today, the first thing I would do is to head to the southeast to apologize for the war and ask the Igbo people, what do you want? This is not just a political statement. It is a call to confront history with humility, to acknowledge the pain of the past, and to, engage sincerely with those whose voices have long been marginalized. Because when they talk about the full reconciliation, according to what the Gowon outlined, the 3R, you will see that none of those have been touched. Even when those 3Rs were introduced for over 50 years, 50 years, that is 5 decades, nothing of such has happened. And that will leave so many Easterners with the question of, if that was a mockery of the sufferness, the hunger, the death, and all sorts of maltreatment during the war, or a watery promise that would never have an effect on his tone. So these are the issues, and they are very much nagging. To be addressed. Sowore also talked about a secret memo aimed at preventing an Igbo man from holding any top position in Nigeria. He underscores that mentally, many Nigerians even have already accepted in hierarchy that marginalized certain group. This is a stark reminder that unity is meaningless if fairness and equal opportunity are absent. It calls for, to confront hidden prejudice and institutional biases that persist decades after independence, subsequently to civil war. Perhaps the most sobering point Sowore raised is this: in the process of keeping Nigeria united, we have lost far more Nigerians than we should have. That is very deep, pointing out on the root causes of the Biafra war, the neglect, injustice, and the failure to, treat all citizens equally has remained unresolved. The consequences of ignoring these issues continue to, ripple through generations. Sowore doesn't shy away from naming painful truths. He recalls how some individuals believed to be Igbos were unalived and taken down to the east from the north, what they call 1966 anti-Igbo pogrom. These are not just a historical fact. They are the scars of a nation that has yet to fully reconcile with its past. This injustice demands recognition, accountability, and healing as soon as possible. And when he was, asked if he regrets his, fight for Nigerians, Sowore responds with unflinching honesty. According to him, he cites that fighting for people is a thankless job. And believe me, this is a stark reminder that advocating for justice and equity often comes with a great personal cost. True patriotism, he suggests, is not about applause. It's about courage, conviction, and sacrifices. Conclusively, the story Sowore is telling us today, it's a story of a nation grappling with its past of wounds left open by war, marginalization, and injustice. Nnamdi Kanu seeks dialogue, not actually a division. The Igbo people deserve acknowledgement, apology, and fairness. Systemic barriers persist, challenging the idea of real unity. For many years now, lives have been lost, history remains unhealed, and the truth must be confronted. Sowore's message is very simple, yet profound. Unity without justice is fragile and can never hold water. Reconciliation without acknowledgement is incomplete and inconclusive. The question remains, will Nigeria face its past and continue to ignore the lesson it will teach? If you found this analysis insightful, don't just watch, engage, like the video, leave a comment sharing your perspectives, and share it with others who value undiluted, thoughtful analysis. And for more deep dives into the stories, truths, and the issue shaping our world, our nation Nigeria, subscribe to AbelPerspectives. Here, we don't just report, we unpack, analyze, and give you clarity beyond the headlines, what the mainstream media cannot give to you. Thank you for watching.